Thank you for having me. Thank you, Guy Reekman, for restoring Life University. Thank you, Gilles Lamarche, that's the Canadian pronunciation, for all that you do. But one big happy family, that's what we are as chiropractors. One big happy family, almost one big happy family. I have my family here. I have my lovely wife, Selena. Can you please stand up? I met her the first day of class. She was working at admissions, and she fell in love with me, so it was... I have my daughter, Chloe, who's going into grade 9, but she's fully committed to being a chiropractor. Can you stand up, Chloe? I have my other daughter, Kenna Jackson, who is starting her prerequisites at Cal U. There's Kenna Jackson. I have her boyfriend who's committed to becoming a chiropractor after this weekend's leadership weekend, Landon Bogdan. Will you please stand up? We brought four other students down with us from Pennsylvania, and they all committed to becoming chiropractors at Life University. The reason I'm talking today is I want to talk about family, but my father-in-law passed away, the great Jim Sigafus, on July 3rd. He moved on to the other side, so this is dedicated to Jim Sigafus. God bless his soul. He taught me one thing, and it was the difference between the inside world and the outside world. Does anybody know what the difference is? The inside world and the outside world. There is no difference. That's what Jim Sigafus taught me. That is a pearl. You can write that down. There is no difference between what's going on in your mind and outside. Your practice and your studies at school, students, are directly reflected as to what's going on in your mind, in your life. You are the one to blame, or you are the one to praise. This is a picture when we got married. There's all kinds of chiropractors that came because we're a big chiropractic family. I also want to acknowledge Chuck Ribley. He was a mentor of mine, and he is a mentor of mine, and he also has played a big major role in Life University. Chuck Ribley, give him a hand. So there's Sigafus there at a graduation with Sid Williams. He is the man behind our family, was the man behind our family, but he practiced a pseudo-medicine after graduating from National College of Chiropractic for 8 years. He was very unsuccessful, starved, couldn't feed his family. He exemplifies to me what's going on still in chiropractic. People graduate, they get out, they're unsuccessful, they don't know the philosophy, they didn't take time to learn the philosophy, the school didn't teach a philosophy, they don't understand business. Happened then, it happens today, and there's a way out of it. Once he learned the philosophy of chiropractic, he ended up coming down to DE here in Atlanta. He understood what the innate mind was, what innate was, what a chiropractic adjustment was. When he took a hold of what innate intelligence is, he was then able to break free in his mind and in his office. He went from 50 visits per week to over 2,000 visits per week, sometimes seeing 600 a day. That's pretty amazing. It can happen to anybody, but you have to get focused, you have to get committed. That's a sign where he went to do a talk for someone. He used to go around doing doctor's reports or lay lectures for other chiropractors, and he was up on the sign, welcome, Sigafus is here. Innate. The innate mind, B.J. Palmer talked about it, Sid Williams talked about it, Chuck Ribley talks about it. It's unlimited. Innate is an expression of universal intelligence. It's unlimited. You have to spend time getting to know your innate. That's my statement I want to leave you with. Not yet, though. Eventually. Leave that one statement on your paper and find out how to get to your innate mind. Read about it. Read the green books. That's when BJ would get inspired. He would start typing. He had a special typewriter, would just keep going and going and going because his innate would talk to him. That's where chiropractic came from. What's it like to be great? We're all great inside. There's a picture of Sisyphus there with Muhammad Ali. He would go adjust Muhammad Ali up in Philadelphia. Taking time to be connected to your innate mind, meditating, visualizing. Let's say that you go on Facebook and you go to a negative site about chiropractic, and you read that site, and you participate in that site, and you criticize chiropractic, and you do that 2 hours a day. What do you think your mindset's going to be about chiropractic in the school you go to, or your practice, or what's going on in society around you? You have to get out of the world and into your mind, your innate mind. This is the greatest thing that I ever learned from Sisyphus. He was a devoted person. He was that's a picture of him in the military. He was a military policeman. He was a marksman. He was an expert handling guns. But he found the truth. He found the truth. The truth is within us. You just have to listen to it. It's the greatest thing that we have going. Your mind, your innate mind speaks to you, that little voice within. A prepared mind. He would prepare. He would, that's a picture of him on the beach in Sarasota. And I remember, I don't know if that was the exact time I was on the beach with him, but I was on the beach plenty of times with him. And he would just sit and stare and read the Bible and read the green books. But what that would do for him was it would put a seed in his mind that later on, when you were ready, you would receive the message that you studied for. See, this is very important. You have to watch what you put in your mind. If you put garbage in, we all know that garbage comes out. That's why it's important to get disciplined and to get serious about this. We're professionals. We just don't do a spinal screening, try and convince someone to sign up for a year's worth of care and start cracking their spine and call it chiropractic. It's a process that you have to learn and work with and fail and learn and study. Courageous people. Sisyphus was one of the first to do mission trips. And mission trips are not about going to another country, going to the pool, getting a tan, getting drunk. I remember when they went to Haiti, they had to walk a mile. They had to adjust people on wooden benches. They had to sleep on the ground. That was a true mission trip because they were there to serve. And you take that idea home that you're there to serve. You're not there to see how many people you can adjust. You're there to learn. You're there to learn from these people. They're teaching you how to serve. As students, you have to learn to humble yourself, to serve people. Not to be served. These patients that we take care of, they're not to serve us so that we can get a new car or a Rolex watch or a dream vacation. We are there to serve. And once you become a servant, then you become worthy of a high volume practice. You have to be transparent. You have to look at yourself. You have to be able to reflect and say when you were wrong. Sisyphus would always tell us about his past failures. He didn't have anything to hide. He battled with alcohol. He battled with messing around. He battled with fighting. But he was willing to look at himself and say, hey, you know what? I'm transparent enough. I'm honest enough with myself. I can let go of things that are not working out, and I can move beyond that. As chiropractic servants, we got to get clear in our minds so that we can serve. If you suck, you have to say so. That medallion around his neck, that's pretty cool. That was shagadelic. But that was back in the day. But you have to have the courage to look at yourself and say that you suck. If you're practicing chiropractor right now and you're not happy with your practice and you're barely surviving and you didn't do your homework and you didn't do the things that are needed to be done to grow, or if you're a student and you're not getting by but you find yourself not studying and doing the things that need to be done, then you suck. And you have to be responsible for yourself. Everybody here is responsible for themselves. That's what I was saying. He taught that the inside world is the same as the outside world, and you are responsible. Don't hold your mom and dad responsible. Look at that picture there. Look at how clear his eyes are. He used to run. He used to see 600 people a day sometimes. He used to go for a 10-mile run. Then he'd go lock himself in the room, and he would meditate, and he'd read the Bible. He'd read the green books, and he'd come out clear in his head. Clear, clear, clear in his head. Crystal clear. Because only when you're clear can your innate talk to someone else's innate. If you're all messed up in the head and you got something else on your mind, like you want to get lucky, you like her rear end as she's laying on the table, you want to close a deal, sign them up for 2 years worth of care, make some cash, get a Ferrari, it just doesn't work, man. You have got to be clear. You're free in the mind, you are free in the practice. Free in your mind. Freed up of all the garbage. If you went out and boozed all weekend long and then got up Monday morning, you expect things to be just wonderful in your office, well, you're mistaken. It's just not the way it works. See, on the average, we see 100 people a week. If we were to double our capacity, people would need to double what they see in practice. The problem with chiropractic is we don't have the capacity to double our utilization rate right now. The people who I know in chiropractic who are seeing 100 a week, and I'm not criticizing, there's no way right now they could see 200 a week. That would be so far out of their realm of possibility because they have not done their homework. They have not gotten clear in their mind. They have not become crystal clear with the philosophy. So a lot of times we wonder why we haven't increased our utilization. Well, in my estimation, we are just not capable with the current mentality in chiropractic. Hardly anybody knows what innate is. Hardly anybody studies innate. Hardly anybody relies on their innate. It's just a slogan. Every excuse possible is what Sisyphus would say about the people he mentored and he coached. He'd hear every excuse possible not to make the changes necessary. Chiropractors make excuses. And I'm not here to belittle anybody or shame anybody. I make a lot of excuses, but I want to get clear. I want to grow. I want to do something amazing in chiropractic. All day, every day. Can you get clear? Too much has been given. As a chiropractor, do you know what's been given to you? You've been given access to innate intelligence, to infinity, to the infinite. It's probably our greatest marketing tool ever, is that no one knows what chiropractic is. If you walked out there in that hotel and you started explaining what innate intelligence was and it runs your body, and when you get adjusted, it can free up the body's ability to heal itself, a body's ability to perform, no one would know what you're talking about. That's a double-edged sword because it makes it difficult to become a chiropractic if no one knows what we do. Now, it's also our greatest marketing tool because once you clearly explain that to people, when you understand it and you accept it in full faith, then it trickles down into the people into your office where they can understand it. So our greatest problem is our greatest marketing. And if you can find a way to relate that to people, what innate is, what the nervous system does, you, my friend, will be successful in chiropractic. It's amazing. That's the secret right there. 50 a week, he was trying everything. He was a pseudo-medical doctor. He was taping ankles and selling shakes before they were in style to sell. He was doing smoothies, and there's nothing wrong with that stuff, but it doesn't unite man the physical and man the spiritual. That's what chiropractic is. Can you imagine giving someone a carrot and saying, here, go home, eat this, and your body will heal itself of any disease known to mankind? I love diet, and I eat really well, and I exercise all the time. But it's that adjustment that creates that connection between the brain and the body that is so important to understand and to make it mentally digestible for everybody that you talk to. Something beyond us is running the show. There's something greater than us. The perfect people come into your life at the perfect time. That was a picture of Sisyphus and his dad. He loved dogs, by the way, Sisyphus. He always had a dog or two around. His father was actually at chiropractic school but couldn't afford to go. So he wanted his son to become a chiropractor. So instead of my kids being third-generation chiropractors, they would have been fourth-generation chiropractors. But how fortunate are you students to be here? Because a lot of kids I know can't afford it. It's an inside job. That's the message. It's an inside job. All the answers are inside you. Your innate intelligence. It's inside you. You got to connect with it. You got to get clear. You got to work on it. You got to put as many hours into working on being with your innate intelligence than you do being in your office. What happens if you're in your office 30 hours a week and you concentrated on your innate intelligence 30 hours a week? What do you think would happen? I think something good would happen. If you get off of Facebook criticizing other chiropractors and you decide to do something positive in this profession, contribute, man. Do something good. Free at last. Look at that necklace. I think that's when he was getting into the mullet style haircut there. When you get freed up, man, you get a mullet. And you know, if you comb the mullet from here all the way back, it's actually called a Florida waterfall. So it goes out of the Canadian mullet is when they trim the hair really short, and then they have a thing on the back. That's the waterfall there, the Florida waterfall. It's time to head into some uncharted territories, students and doctors. Get freed up in your mind. Get connected to your innate. Look at that. Someone told him chiropractic doesn't work, and he believed it. That was his business card. This is the greatest gift. No one knows what we do. How freed up would you be if you had a card like that? Break free. Gain access to something bigger than yourself. It's your innate intelligence. Let it flow. Get piped into this stuff. Look at this. He used to advertise free x-rays. What heals? You know, he got called up by the board in Pennsylvania. Human beings, we have lost our true identity. The people we serve are on so many drugs that they no longer recognize that there is an innate intelligence that heals their body. As soon as you go on a drug, it takes over your body. You've lost your true identity. How about if you explain that to everybody? Write that one down. Mrs. Jones, you're a pastor's wife. You're on Prozac. You've lost your true identity. Oh, really? Yes, really. No force required. Here's the deal. We built a big practice. So what? So did a whole bunch of other people. But there was no force required. There's no forced care plans. No forced spinal screenings. No forced dinners. No forced money up front. Innate, when it starts to work through you, it just becomes attractive to people. I'm all about special ways of marketing my practice, but here's the way we do it. We just go in, we love people. We get clear in our minds. We talk about chiropractic. We adjust people. Yeah, the last speaker said it isn't that easy, and he's right. But it could be if you get connected to your innate. And please, work on this. Work on it. Work on what innate is, your innate mind. BJ talked about it. If you guys are in the Pennsylvania area, if you want to come see our office, if you want these slides, if you want anything that I have, I will give it to you. Especially my daughter's bills. If you want my daughter's bills, they're expensive to operate, young daughters, as you guys may know. I would love to have you visit. I love you guys. Anything is possible when you connect to the infinite power that's in your mind. When you get rid of all the blocks, that's called the subluxation above C1. B.J. Palmer talked about it. That's when you come alive. God bless you. Thank you.